y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a January reflection, a mental health check, and just a quick story time about what has been happening in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And the whole reason why I wanted to start this platform, or start a platform, was to just really show real life. I know that social media can be a place where it's always accomplishments and excitement and everybody has done this and everybody's done that, but truthfully, it's just not always that. Life is not always that. And I know we get in the habit of showing just all the goodness, good stuff, but I want a platform that shows real life. And so in the essence of that, my January has been full of real life trials and tribulations, and I want to share that with someone else or with y'all. So to kick off my January, I was at home for the first few weeks. I did go home for Christmas, and I stayed home for 3 weeks, spent time with my family, and it was really good. I'm big on my family. We spent a lot of time together. I'm really thankful. But during the time when I was home, I got a call from my neighbor that my car was messed up. And so I don't want to make this video too long, but basically, y'all, somebody messed with my car when I was gone. So I basically kind of just got caught in the crossfire of someone trying to hurt someone else's car, and they ended up hurting mine. And so thank God for my neighbor. He was one that called me and let me know that my car had looked funny and there were some damages to it. And y'all, my apartment complex knew about it and never called. Never reached out, never really even tried to look to see whose car was messed up in this altercation, although they knew that there was a car messed up in an altercation. Car fixed. So I have been around LA with no car. I've been navigating around with no car. And I still don't have my car back, even right now as I'm recording this video. It's currently in the shop getting fixed. I did have to get the police involved, and I didn't realize how traumatic I was, or how nervous police make me. But yeah, police had to come, get a police report, and I mean, hopefully I can talk about this, but so yeah, there's gonna be a whole investigation, all this stuff that I had to do between the police and my insurance, but it's a car, it will, I'm blessed to be in a situation where I can get it fixed. It's a costly fix, but it'll get fixed nonetheless. So that started to stress me out, and honestly, just leaving my family, this post-holiday blues, which I don't think a lot of people talk about. It's after the holidays where you go back to your normal life, you spend days at a time, nobody has to work, and you just hanging out with your family. It definitely, and then having to come all the way back here where I was alone, that really put me in a depression. Between that and then getting the situation with my car, it was really hard on me. And so I found myself in a depression. And the thing is, although I knew I was sad, I'm the type of person where I just try to keep myself busy. But in this moment, I really couldn't. I couldn't keep myself busy because I didn't have a car. It wasn't like I could go places. And then I've been having this really bad back pain, which will get me to my next story. But I was having this really bad back pain. So I wasn't dancing. I wasn't going to the gym. And so I just kind of just depleted myself. And so I was in my apartment. I was literally sitting here just sad. I wasn't really texting nobody back. My mom would call, I was talking to my mom and stuff, and it would just be kind of normal. And I think she knew I was sad, but I don't think she could really tell because I was just trying to keep with it. But I was really just disassociated with everything, just conversations and everything. And my friend called me and she was like, "Are you good? You ain't text me back in 2 days." And so I was sitting there talking to her, and I just burst out crying because I realized that I was overwhelmed. And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't know how to tell anybody. Didn't know how to ask for help. And that's not okay, especially when I'm here alone, especially when you live alone. I learned in that moment that I needed to communicate and just say, "Hey, I'm sad. Hey, I'm upset." And that felt weird at first, but when I then reached out to people and was like, "Hey, y'all," and I wasn't even posted on social media. I was off. I usually post every single day, on my story or whatever, but I wasn't even posting. So I was really, really just sad, and I was just overwhelmed. So I started to just come out of my funk by realizing I'm doing the best that I can. And I just need to let people know and let people be there for me too. When I am sad and upset, I need to let people know. And so like I was telling my mom, like, actually I am really sad about this. I am really upset about this. And she gave me a really good talk. My best friend sent me flowers. I've just been having really good conversations with people, and it just sometimes it's not about me, right? It's not me unloading what I'm upset about and I'm sad about, and that's good too. Like just having a casual conversation with my friends about what they're doing and how they're doing kind of helped me restore a little bit of joy. So I was doing good. Basically, I went to the Ari Lennox concert. It was totally fine. Everything was normal. The next day, the Ari Lennox concert was on Sunday, and then Monday came around, and I had the most normal day. When I tell you I had the most normal day, I worked. I cooked because I was supposed to meal prep, but I didn't meal prep because I had the Ari Lennox concert. So I was supposed to meal prep. So I meal prepped on Monday, made my meals for the next few days, and then I went to bed. Nothing out of the ordinary. So I go to bed around 9-ish, 9:45, 10 o'clock. A little after 12, I woke up to my body just literally shaking. Every muscle in my body felt like I was having a spasm. And like, you know, like if you're, this is how I was explaining this to my mom, you know, like when your eye twitches, but imagine that throughout your entire body. But every muscle in my body was my body was going into shock. I later realized my body was going into shock. But at first I moved around. I'm like, I'm trying to lay in different positions, and I'm like, like my body, something is not right. So I tried to get up, I laid my feet down, tried to get up, and I could tell it was really, really hard for me to walk. So then I walked to the bathroom, and then I turned the lights on, and I'm like, I could see my muscles, everything was shaking. My hands were shaking, my legs were shaking, I could barely stand. And so then I went back in my room, and I just sat down on my bed, and I was like trying to calm down because I didn't want to freak out, but I didn't know what was happening. So then I ended up calling my neighbor. Thank God he answered. Thank God for this man, because I literally called my neighbor, and as soon as I started to talk, I realized that I had a stutter. I couldn't get the words out because everything, like literally my muscles in my neck, everything was starting to shake. And I was like, can you please come over? I think I said, like, can you please come over? I can't stop shaking. I ended up calling my aunt. By this time, it's like 3 a.m., you know, EST, because I live in PST. So it's 3 a.m. EST. So I call my aunt, and I can't talk. So I'm stuttering, trying to tell her, hey, like, don't be alarmed, but I can't stop shaking. I'm about to go to the doctor. And she's like, are you okay? Are you having a seizure? She's like, well, you're not having a seizure because you could talk. So, like, you need to go to the hospital now. Y'all, I had an infection in my kidneys. So I ended up having this infection in my kidneys, which caused me to have a fever. I did run a fever when they did take my vitals. I did run a fever. And so that fever is what caused my body to go into shock. And so I think the craziest thing about this is what I'm really, really thankful for is had my body not woken me up, I would have just ran a fever, and God only knows what would have happened. Like, that's the scariest thing about it all, is that thankfully my body woke me up and was like, girl, something is not right. But the infection in my kidneys then made the fever spike, which made me have a fever, which y'all had no clue. I had no clue this was even going on in my body, because for that day, I just had the most normal day. I had just left the Ari Lennox concert. I just, was feeling like I was going into a really good week. And then next thing you know, I'm waking up in the middle of the night out of my sleep, and my entire body is basically going into shock. And I'm running this fever. I get to the hospital to find out later that I had this infection, which caused the fever. Then I'm like partially anemic. My iron levels were low. My calcium levels were low. All these like things that were happening that I had no clue. So all that to say, make sure. And then also, if you do live alone, make sure you know who you're gonna call, because honestly, y'all, I don't even have a car. So I wouldn't have even been able to drive to the ER. But I'm just really glad that I had somebody to call. So if you do live alone, like, just be thinking about your emergency contact, who you would call, in a bad situation. Add them to your favorite list on your phone, and God forbid, you have to use them. But in the case like me, where I had no clue that this was gonna happen, I'm glad that I had somebody to call. January has been rough. Between the car, but I'm doing better now. Let me just say, I have to hydrate. I'll be on meds for a little bit. I am really fatigued and really tired. I don't know if you can tell. I get out of breath really quickly. Just talking and just energy, because I'm just so tired. I'm so fatigued, and I'm not sure if that's the infection or if that is the medicine, but it does make me sleepy, but and fatigued. So I do sleep a lot. I did take off work, but I'm going back to work tomorrow, but it's Friday, so that's okay. And yeah, so just giving a January in reflection, and I hope whoever watches this knows that, like, it's not always perfect, and that's okay. Like, life isn't always bonuses and wins in work and wins and finding $100 bills on the floor. Sometimes it's a perfectly fine day, and at the end of it, you're in the hospital. You're in the emergency room. Sometimes it's somebody doing shit to your car, and they got the wrong car. They had the wrong car. They had the wrong door. But I'm okay. I'm gonna, hopefully February is better. I'm gonna try to stay positive. I've been journaling and just, again, using my people, which is really hard for me, but I've been using my people and letting them know, like, hey, I'm sad. Hey, I'm not okay. And I hope that's a message to let anybody know who's watching this. Let people know I'm not okay, and let them help you, because sometimes we all need help. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope next month I'll have a better, this is my life. But it's just a message to say that, like, it's not easy, and that's okay. Life is not easy, but we're all trying to make it happen. So if you like this video and you want a positive update for February, happy Black History Month, make sure you come back and stay tuned for more. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and send this message to somebody who needs to see it. Bye.